Hello, everyone, and welcome to Unsportsmanlike Conduct. I'm Christian Stoynev, and today my man Trent Land is joining me. We are going to talk about the NBA. Injuries are starting to pile up, and we got to see where those teams stand after these injuries. I have a little theory about what I think LeBron James is doing, which I think he's super smart to be doing. And we'll talk a little bit about the NFL. The NFL draft's coming up, so we'll see what the new storylines are there. But to get talking to all these things, we got to get Trent on here, right? So let's bring in Trent. All right, it's time now to welcome in Trent. What's going on, Trent? Thanks for being back on the show. You're like the most visited guest I've had over here. What's going on?
I know, either that or I just have the most free time, or I don't know what it is, but
It might be a little bit of both. I have fun talking to you, but you also have free time, and when I have free time, it just happens to work out. But I'm glad you're on, man. It's always fun to talk sports with you. I want to start this episode talking a little bit about the NBA because I'm sure, as you've seen, there's been quite a bit of injuries going on. The first one was Jamal Murray, that on the last episode I kind of talked about, which I think is kind of crucial for Denver. I actually looked at the Nuggets as a team that could maybe make some noise this year. And then now with that injury, I think that's big for them. What do you think about that one?
I thought the Nuggets were about to be a top 2 contender.
Yeah.
But now, I don't know. I thought they were going to do a little bit more at the trade deadline, but they didn't.
Yeah, I mean, they got Aaron Gordon, which I like because I thought he was, obviously just not playing up to his potential in Orlando, and kind of that fresh start would help him. And he was playing obviously now with a whole lot of better players, so it was making his game look way better. But the Murray injury, man, that's tough for them. And and also it's tough because it's going to linger on into next season as well, because it's a year, it's about a year injury.
Yeah.
So a year from now, basically the whole next season will be more than halfway through as well, and the Nuggets are going to have to play without him. I will say, though, this opens up the door for guys like Michael Porter Jr. to kind of step up, and all the other role players that now can kind of step into that, vacant spot there. But I think it's hard to replace someone like Jamal Murray. And I did see them actually competing deep into the playoffs this year, but I don't think so anymore.
Michael Porter Jr. has been balling.
Yeah, he's been playing well. And Jokic has too, man. But yeah, it's tough to overcome that. That's either your first or your second best player on that team, and he's out now. So I kind of am canceling them off in the West. So to me, that leaves only about 3 teams that I think can actually make it, 3 or 4, because obviously you got the Lakers, assuming they're healthy. The Clippers, you just have to give them credit, even though I'm not really so high on the Clippers.
The Suns?
That's where I'm going. The Phoenix Suns. So you live in Arizona, and I wanted to ask you, what's the vibe there? Because the Suns have the best record since the All-Star break of any team in the NBA. Chris Paul has made this team look like a legit title contender. And DeAndre Ayton, after, his first season, it didn't look like he was worthy of that high draft pick. And then now he's kind of playing really well. So what does it take coming from Phoenix?
I'm not a Suns fan, but I support the hometown team,
Yeah.
But I go out now, everybody's talking about the Suns. Everybody and their mom, even if they don't know anything about basketball, they're talking about the Suns.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You haven't seen people talk about the Suns like this since Steve Nash days.
Yeah. Well, and I think they're going to have the success from the Steve Nash days, and who knows, maybe they finally bring a championship out there, because Chris Paul does have them playing good. They have all these guys that are playing. The 2 Cams are playing good ball. Mikal Bridges is coming through.
I think the biggest addition was Chris Paul and Jay Crowder. Those are the 2 biggest additions on that team.
Absolutely. I think Jay Crowder has always been underrated.
Veteran presence for them. They needed it because with that young team, they're super young.
Yeah, and Jay, like you said, I'm glad you mentioned Jay Crowder, because to me, anytime, man, when he's played with the Celtics or Miami, I feel like he's just a player that he's like a winning player. He's to me, he's like Marcus Smart. He is going to be there and make winning plays. And he's super undervalued, I think, in the league. And so him being in Phoenix, like you said, that was like a quiet pickup that I think is huge for them. So like I said, that's the 3rd team. And, if things break right for them, I could see them, so far, you got to get a little bit lucky to get to the championship, to the finals. And, if they stay healthy, this might be the season that everything goes right for them. Obviously, the biggest hurdle for them is the Lakers, and they have their top two guys injured, and you never know how those injuries coming back, how
Yeah.
that's going to be. And the other team that I was going to mention is the Utah Jazz, who are obviously the best, pretty much the best team in the league all season. And then I don't know if you saw last night, Donovan Mitchell, or it was yesterday, it was an afternoon game.
You're
Donovan
hurt?
Mitchell gets hurt.
Yeah.
So that one looked serious at first. I honestly thought he like broke his leg or something because he could not put any weight on that ankle. Lucky for them, it's a low ankle sprain, but I mean, they're going to be without him probably for the next month. And do you take the Jazz at full strength seriously?
I do take them seriously at full strength, but without Donovan Mitchell, no.
Right. And that's, I mean, obviously that goes without saying. I do think he'll be back for the playoffs, which then leads me to this little, I'm going to be a conspiracy theorist here. This is my take. I want to know if you agree with this. LeBron, when he got hurt, I'm not saying he faked the injury at all, but I definitely think he is milking the injury because I've seen him on the sidelines. He's not wearing a boot anymore. He looks like, obviously it's different from standing around to playing, and I'm not knocking him. I think this would be the smart move if I'm LeBron. I think once he got hurt and he was like, all right, I'm not in the running for MVP anymore, I'm going to milk this injury and takes more time off to rest up for the playoffs. Because I think if the playoffs started like next week, I think he'd be playing.
For sure.
But I think that there's been reports that he's not going to be back for another 3 weeks. And so, the way Donovan Mitchell got hurt to me looked worse than how LeBron got hurt. And obviously they're different players, different ages, all that stuff goes into play. But, I think if Donovan Mitchell's got a low ankle sprain, I'll give him like a month or so. And I think for the playoffs, which start in about a little over a month, I think he'll be back because I don't know that the Jazz even get out of the first round without Donovan Mitchell.
They don't.
Especially these next couple games, if they start dropping, if Phoenix overtakes them and gets the number 1 seed, because they're, if they drop to, I mean, heck, even the number 1 seed, you may be playing the Mavericks in the first round of the playoffs. So
that's tough.
That's tough. So the Jazz without Donovan Mitchell against a healthy Dallas Mavericks team, I don't know that they get past that round.
That's tough.
Yeah. So I don't know. Interesting things over there going on in the NBA. And then out of the East, I know you're a Washington Wizards
East,
fan. Yeah,
the East. Let's not talk about the Wizards, but
hey, they're making a push.
I was watching the Nets game the other night, okay?
Okay.
And it was a 15-point game. They're getting blown out of the water. KD was out. Laker was out. Harden was out. Kyrie went on a run, scored 8 points, went on an 8-0 run at the end of the third quarter.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a 5-point lead. They sat Kyrie with a minute left in the third quarter, and he never went back on the court in the fourth quarter. Not once. The bench was balling out, went off. It was like a 3-4 point game, and they didn't put Kyrie back in. They could have won the game.
They ended up losing it?
They lost the game.
Oh, well, that tells you everything you need to know. They don't care. They are just waiting.
That game, if they win that game, they're the number 1 spot in the East.
Oh, that's the Philly game you're talking about.
That was the Philly game.
Okay, yeah. Well,
they did not care.
That goes to tell you that they are not scared of anyone. They don't care. It doesn't matter to Brooklyn where they're at. That's why I'm like, in the East, they should just have them. I mean, Kyrie already has more personal days that of any person employed in the whole nation, I'm sure, because he's on a personal day every other day. If he I don't know, if he stubs his toe on a rock, I feel like he's got a personal day coming. So, but yeah, man, I mean, in the East, I just think no one's going to beat Brooklyn. I want to see Philly do it. I'd love to see that. Honestly, I'd even like to see Milwaukee do it just for Giannis. I like Giannis, but there's only one team I hate more than Brooklyn, and that's the Celtics. But even the Celtics, it'd be more rewarding to see them in the finals in the East, because it's just, Charles Barkley, they said he doesn't like because obviously the way they built their team. And to me, I don't have a problem with the way they built their team. I think it was actually great general manager work, the way they did it. I just don't like the way that they forced it to happen. Like James Harden, like I can't get behind him just the way he like quit on Houston like that. Like that's what I don't like. I don't mind the super teams getting built if it's within the structure. Like that's fine. You know, the Yankees used to do this in baseball all the time, and they would just like, you know, buy people and stuff and like,
Yeah.
you know, pay a whole bunch and pay tax. I mean, they don't even have a really luxury tax in baseball, but you know, I don't have a problem with that. I think it's fair game with Brooklyn. I just don't like the way, really, it's the Harden one I have an issue with. I just don't like the way he got himself there, but whatever, it is what it is. But
what do you think about KD's injury? What do you think they're doing? Because he just rests. He plays, he doesn't play. It's plays, he doesn't play.
Yeah, I think he's just, you know, they're just kind of monitoring it, and they're probably saying like, hey, why don't you play just like 2 games per week, and you know, take it lightly. And then the playoffs, even, you know, the games are more spread out in the playoffs. The max you'll play in a week is about 3 games anyway, 3 or 4.
He just dropped 31 points and then sat the next night against Philly, and they lost the game on purpose, basically.
I mean, there's nothing to gain for them in that kind of game. You know, Philly, it's like a confidence game. You know, you win. I watched this happen all the time as a Raptors fan when we would play the Cavaliers with LeBron. And LeBron wouldn't really care for the regular season game. And if we beat them, it was huge. We were like, oh my God, like, you know, like this confidence thing, like you can beat the Cavs. And then playoffs come around and it's just a different game. And then LeBron's locked in. And that's what it is with Brooklyn. They're just waiting till the playoffs at this point. The NBA's kind of hit this lull of just waiting till the playoffs. And so a couple questions for you. The play-in tournament, which let's just start with this. I know you don't want to talk about the Wizards, but hey, they're playing better lately. And you know, when you have Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal, I know that the team may be like 10 games under 500, but yeah, those are superstars and they could get hot for a series and, you know, make some trouble. Like if they play Philly, let's just say, and
we definitely have a shot for sure.
I mean, right now, I was out on my Raptors a week ago, and I'm still like, it's not like I think they can win the championship. But I'm just saying I was like on the tank bandwagon. And then now they've been resting players. Like they've been resting Siakam and Lowry and all these guys. And they've won a couple games in a row. And the Bulls, who were holding on to that 10th and last spot for the play-in, have been losing all these games. As of today, the Raptors would be in the play-in tournament. So now I'm kind of on it. Like, I'm like, all right, let's get in this play-in because, you know, we got the like veteran guys that haven't even been playing. If you put Lowry in there, Van Vliet, these guys that have had some experience, and maybe they like get, you know, a little more like, because I feel like a week ago our season was over. So now if they're like, you know what, we can make the playoffs, let's do it. So yeah, you know, in a team like the Wizards, like I said, it could be the same thing. So it's like a 3-team race right now just to get into the play-in. So 2-part question. What do you think of your Wizards? Second part, what do you think of the play-in tournament? Because I know the Mavs and Mark Cuban were complaining about it last week.
My Wizards need a new general manager.
Okay.
And, man, I don't even know what they're doing anymore at this point.
The Wizards or with the play-in?
The Wizards as a franchise in general. I don't know what they're doing. I mean, I'm so confused to what they're trying to. Yeah, they're trying to build a team around Bradley Beal, but I don't think Russell Westbrook was the right move.
Right. Well, the only good thing for them is, you like it or not, I mean, you do have that asset. So they could trade and flip Westbrook for, you know, a couple picks, especially the way he's been playing lately. And you never know, a team that's, you know, maybe like not doing great or that needs a spark would trade for Russell Westbrook, just a young team like that needs, not the Kings, because the Kings have De'Aaron Fox, but a team that has young talent and doesn't have, you know, that star or whatever, they might trade for him. But
I could see Russ like getting traded for like when Mike Conley's about to go, or like Chris Paul for the Suns, like something like that. Because, you know, those guys only have a couple years left, or like a year or 2 left.
Yeah.
Like how much longer do you think Chris Paul's going to actually play?
I mean, I don't know, man. He's been playing really well lately. So, and he's been healthy. I'd give him another 3 years. I think he could play another 3 good years.
Damn.
Yeah, I actually think Chris Paul, like he's got some miles left in him. But so the play-in tournament, the Mavericks went out last week and complained about it. Luca and Mark Cuban then followed up and was talking about that it was a mistake. So do you like the play? Have you noticed how it's gonna be, by the way?
No, is it the same as
So
last
it's pretty much the 7 and 8 team play each other for the 7th seed.
year?
So the
Okay.
winner of that game is locked into the 7th seed. And then the
Okay.
9th and 10th team play each other, and the winner of that plays the loser of the 7-8 game for the 8th seed. So,
Gotcha.
so if you like, let's say the Wizards end up the 10th seed, they would play the 9th seed, which I think right now is Indiana. If they beat Indiana, then they play the loser of the 7-8 game. And then if they win that, they would get the 8th seed.
I think they beat Indiana for sure though.
So, I mean, and the thing is, it's just one and done. So I do like the idea of it. I just don't like how it was just such a quick like reaction. And I mean, like I said, I'm just kind of, I like the old school standings when the league wanted to expand and make like bring both conferences together. I just wasn't a fan of that. I don't like. I'm not a fan of change. I'm just not a fan of change as a reactionary quick decision. Like if it's gonna happen, you got to think it through, and think everything through. And I just think the play-in tournament was kind of a, what do we need to do? Let's just do a play-in tournament. Yeah, let's do it. And then ban. So I don't know, but we'll see what happens with the play-in. But like I said, I do I mean, the Raptors, Wizards, and Bulls all of a sudden are all fighting for that 10th spot, and the play-in tournament could get kind of interesting. So
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Yeah, hopefully we don't play each other because I'm not betting you another jersey.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I won that last one in the playoffs. Thank God it took us 6 games, and you guys were like the 8th seed. That was horrible. But all right. Other than that, NFL, I just want to ask you. We talked about the Niners, obviously. If it's Mac Jones or Justin Fields, who do you want?
Dude, I don't even, like I said on the phone, I don't know what we're doing.
Yeah.
But
As a fan, I'm just saying, I guess.
I would have to say Justin Fields.
Yeah, I also think he seems more of like the generational quarterback in this generation. Like,
I think he's the Shanahan fit right now. If I had to say anybody was like to come into our system,
yeah, he adds that element of, he can scramble, and he is a tough dude. He's been hit and he gets right back up. So, your problem with Jimmy G is he's never healthy. I heard a stat that in the last 4 years, only the Super Bowl year did he play more than 6 games. The other 3 seasons, he played less than 6 games for the whole season. So, I would go Justin Fields also. But, I mean, like I said, when we spoke about them, they have their eyes locked in on who they want, and they've had them probably way earlier. That's probably why they gave up so much draft capital to move up.
I forgot the receiver's name from LSU, but I think he's going to be an animal.
Jamar Chase.
Yeah. And the kid from Bama, Jalen Waddle.
Well,
beast.
I haven't understood why Devonta Smith has dropped so much.
Devonta Smith too.
He's the Heisman winner. Everyone says he's undersized, but he's undersized in sense of like weight.
Yeah.
Not height. He's an average height receiver. So that part has confused me, because you get this kid in the weight room for the next 2 months, and there's your undersized.
Put him with an NFL. Put him when he gets drafted. He's going to be working out with an NFL strength coach.
Right. Plus, it's just they're still kids. Like they're I mean, all of these guys that get drafted in the next 3 years are going to put on over 10 pounds of muscle, at least.
More.
Maybe more. Yeah. So I just don't get that. So if the Giants right now, he's slated to get drafted by the Giants, I believe, with the 11th or 12th pick. If they get him, I love it. I mean, why not? That defense was pretty solid last year. You start adding tools. They signed Kenny Golladay this offseason from the Lions. Put tools around Daniel Jones. And if Daniel Jones is not your guy and you figure it out this season, when you go to either draft a QB or trade for a QB, you have receivers set there to help that new QB succeed. So
Kenny Galladay is the true number one receiver. He's a beast.
I mean, yeah, like I said, the Giants, low-key, they're not favored that high in the NFC East for some reason, but I just think that the Giants are going to be really good. And I like Joe Judge. Nobody liked him in the beginning, but that team was playing hard for him there towards the end. So
yeah,
I think they can make some noise.
They just need to get Saquon back.
Yeah, that too. And they'll get Saquon back. So there's just, I even forgot about Saquon. I was like, who's their running back? Yeah, they have a stud running back. So if they just keep doing what they're doing, I think the Giants will be pretty good. I mean, I'm willing to bet they'll be better than the Jets.
For
even
sure.
if the Jets get what's his name, Zach Wilson this in the draft. So, and all right, before I let you go too, I don't know if you felt this way, but does it feel like the draft has been the most anticipated draft in forever?
Yeah. Yes. Like I feel like I already know the first 10 picks and where they're going.
Yeah, like I've been sitting here like, man, this draft, like I'm like, is it this weekend? I'm like, oh no, it's still next weekend. But for the past 3 weeks, they've been talking about it like it's the upcoming weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that has to do with just how the schedules are all off. Usually during this time, the NBA playoffs would be getting started. Yeah. Actually, exactly about this time. Usually they start around mid-April.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's just.
I want to talk about one more thing about the football.
Yep.
The Ravens.
Okay.
They got Sammy Watkins now.
Oh, they got him from, wasn't he with the Rams?
With the Chiefs.
Oh, the Chiefs. Yeah.
So, you see what he said the other day?
No. What did he say?
He was working out with Lamar Jackson. He goes, I guess there was like some reporters there or whatever. He said, we needed receivers. Lamar's a great quarterback. All the receivers were trash. They just couldn't get open. That's
what he said about his new teammates, pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, where was he? Because I'm pretty sure he wasn't at the top of the depth chart in Kansas City.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, Tyreek Hill was ahead of him. Who's the number 2 in
Travis Kelce?
Well, tight end though. But yeah, but Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. I'm pretty sure the Pringle man.
Pringle. McCole Hardman was in front of him.
McCole Hardman. Yeah, that's the other guy. So where was he getting open? He needs to prove himself. He hasn't been anything since
he was in
Clemson. I'm pretty sure that's where he went. Right? Yeah.
He was pretty good with the Rams for a little bit.
Yeah, for a little bit, but I don't know. So I mean, I like Lamar, man. I do like Lamar, and I think the Ravens, they
got some work to do for sure in the offseason.
Sometimes I do jump off not like as a fan of his, but a fan of his game, the Lamar Jackson train, because I think the best quarterbacks know a perfect balance between running when it's time to run and passing. Like Patrick Mahomes, he's my quarterback crush every day. I think that's why he's so good. He's got the balance. He's got it balanced to a T. That's why Aaron Rodgers is so good. They're unpredictable. And even when you bring pressure, that doesn't necessarily mean they're running. When there's pressure on Pat Mahomes, he might run to scramble out of it, but it doesn't mean it's a run for Patrick Mahomes. It just means he might run around, leave the pocket, and then throw. Anytime Lamar leaves the pocket, he's passing the line of scrimmage.
He's gone. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's where I think with these quarterbacks, that's why sometimes with him, people are just like, let's just pressure him. Once we pressure him, he's running. So he becomes one-dimensional. Whereas Mahomes, once you pressure him, he's still got his options. He's not one-dimensional anymore, or he doesn't become one-dimensional. He might just escape the pocket. He still might run, but he still can make a pass. And that's where they get dangerous. How many times have you seen it's like him scramble and then he backs up and then makes a throw. Or Aaron Rodgers will scramble and toe the line of scrimmage and not pass it and then make a pass. Yeah. And those are the plays that Lamar, I haven't seen him really make. And I think that's crucial. So if he can do that, then I think he'll take his game to another level, but we'll see. Other than that, anything going on in baseball? I haven't really been watching. I know the Yankees kind of stink, so I've been kind of like,
Man, the Marlins got this new kid, Chaz. His name's Jazz Chisholm Jr. He is a beast.
what does he
Rookie.
play?
He plays outfield.
Okay,
He freaking bombs the ball out of the park.
really?
I was at the game in New York, and it was his debut. He hit one in the second deck.
Dang. Where did he
And
come from? Is he just like a rookie, or is
yeah,
he been in the league? Is like working his way up?
he's just a young kid. He's
Wow.
like 20-something years old. He's a beast, but the Yankees don't look good.
Nah, man. That pitching looks overrated. Everyone thought it was gonna be
The
good. And it's
Dodgers
not that
look good. I think the Padres are all-star team. The Dodgers and the Padres are gonna war all year. They got, I think,
The
four more.
Padres got that kid from the Orioles, right?
The
Manny
Padres got
Machado.
yep.
Yeah. So
And they got that new shortstop, highest paid kid in the league now, Tatis Jr.
yeah.
He won Rookie of the Year,
Dang.
MVP, whatever. But it's gonna be big. The Dodgers Padres is gonna be a rivalry this year. They played last night. They played 12 innings last night. They went extra innings. The Dodgers won it in the 12th.
Oh wow. So and extra inning rules have changed, right? Now there's always a runner on second or something like that.
That was for last year.
Oh, they're not doing that no more?
Yeah, no, that was for the shortened season. So the shortened season had a DH
That's right.
for everywhere,
Nationally. Yeah.
and then they took it out now.
So now it's just back to old school extra inning rules.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, yeah, I haven't watched much baseball, but I usually don't anyway until it gets exciting come playoff time. But right now, I'm just looking forward to the NBA playoffs. I think, I think the West is going to be a lot of fun in the NBA playoffs, and then all the other rounds in the East, minus the Brooklyn rounds, because those just don't seem good at all. But yeah, and then football, man. Like I said, this draft, just everyone's just been talking about it and anticipating it. So I'm like, Jesus, like. But it's just, I think it's dead like stories right now in the media. So everyone's just anticipating the draft, but I'm excited for that. And then after that, obviously like camps and stuff, and they're the PA's trying to figure out. Did you see also? We're almost at a half hour, so I'll leave with this. Did you see Anthony Edwards the other day disrespect Alex Rodriguez?
Yeah, that was,
dude.
He's like, I don't like baseball.
He said, nah, he's like, what did he do? And he's like, oh, a baseball player? He's like, oh, no, I didn't know he played baseball. Man, like the leverage you must have to be able to honestly not care like that is I mean, good for him. I'm jealous. That's crazy. He just literally sat there and was like, nah, I don't know who that is.
No, it's funny though, because when he said he didn't like baseball, or he wasn't a fan of baseball or something like that. There was a couple months ago or a month ago when he had that dunk.
Yeah.
After the game, the reporter asked him, they said, you played football in high school or something like that. Would you make the choice? Would you have changed your choice to play football? And he's like, I could play anything. I could ball out in anything.
Yeah.
And then she started naming like golf and baseball. And he's like, I'll hit the ball out of the park. And then like all this.
Yeah, because he played, I think, when he was like 10 or 12. And then the lady reporter was just like, well, I guess I'm just going to assume you were the best player. And he's like, damn straight. I'm like, oh my God, dude, this dude's got the confidence like crazy, man. Like,
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. Like in basketball, keep it. In life, though, I don't know, man. I mean, you better hope the basketball career goes amazingly, because afterwards, yeah, it's not gonna be easy for you to get a job, be disrespecting the owners and the CEOs like that.
So what he's doing right now will work out for him.
He's on his way though. The kid's winning. He's in the NBA, drafted number 2 after Wiseman. So he'll be fine. So good for him. So all right, man. Well, thanks for joining. We'll wait till more headlines come up, because right now, like I said, everyone's just kind of waiting on the draft. So we'll see what happens.
I can't wait for the draft.
Can't wait. Yeah, me too. I'm just excited to see like
the freaking Arizona Cardinals are trying to make moves.
What's the move that you're hearing? What do your sources say?
They just signed JJ Watt.
Yeah, JJ Watt, and then they got
AJ Green.
Who?
AJ Green.
Yeah, AJ Green, and they signed James Conner, right?
Yeah, and they signed Matt Prater. They needed a kicker.
Oh wow, I didn't even know he was available. The Vikings need a kicker, and they haven't done anything. So
I don't know, dude.
yeah,
There's been a lot of sports stuff happening.
yeah. Well, we'll see. Well, things are about to ramp up here soon. So after the draft and then the schedule release, we'll have to go through the schedule release and do our little predictions and stuff. So, all right, Trent. Well, thanks for joining me, and I'm sure we'll have you back soon with all of our free time.
All right, I'll see you later, Christian. Thank
All
you.
right, man. Thank you. All right, well, a huge thank you to Trent again for joining me on the show today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Remember, subscribe and share if you can. And yeah, we're just waiting on more headlines to start popping off here because it's kind of a dull season in sports as we wait for the NFL draft and the NBA playoffs. And really, baseball is just getting started. It's such a long season that talking about anything in baseball right now kind of just doesn't seem fun. So, all right, well, the NFL draft's coming up soon. So I know we'll have a lot of things to talk about, surprises, maybe some trades come up before draft day. So stay tuned. We'll have more episodes coming out, obviously, over the next coming days. And thank you guys.